This is like the next FACEIT advert.
While James is doing this, you can do something productive. Go to the Upcomer app, upcomer.com, and make your predictions known.
Have this
one might be somewhat of an easy one, but it's a good warm-up for today. And I don't really know.
But you can't do that on the Upcomer app.
No, you probably can't.
8%. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they're at it.
Well, I mean, should we be surprised? Liquid should win this because they're Team Liquid. Because they have spent much more time playing top flight CS because they've got much more money behind their team and they can do much more with that team. Right then, Liquid are going to be starting on the CT side and we are into the match arena. 3 players towards the B bomb site for Team Liquid, 2 awaiting on A. They've got the range, they've got the USPs. We've got a P250 on Quick and onto Valina as well. 3 players jumping on the ramp. There are 4 in total moving out, and you will see that Valina will just be keeping an eye on things towards jungle from the Palace position. And I love this. Jungle's been smoked off, and they are taking the rotation positions away. Normally on a retake, as you might see in a buy round, if you have a guy who needs to come through this crawl space, he's going to come in late. MIBR are a good example of that. But this is really interesting map control for Winstrike. They've got the bomb planted in an exposed position. How do Liquid deal with this?
It's certainly awkward. Nitro will lighten the load, and now the CTs will start to cue the push together, coordinate, trade it out, and so far so good. Everyone's getting kind of low. The bomb defuse is coming in, and that's going to put some pressure on Jimka. Able to find a fast frag onto Taka, relieving some of that pressure, but he will not be able to survive the onslaught of a leech. And still enough though to win the rounds as Winstrike pick up the pistol, and that was a really difficult one. And just not having that kit can be such a problem in the last final moments there. And Winstrike get that edge they need to start really dictating the pace into this T side. This is the start they have to have. They have to have a good start, James. They've got to try to snowball this against Liquid as soon as possible.
Their t-shirts look like they've gone through a gift shop in a bad aquarium. It must be said.
It must be a very bad aquarium considering it's just stars, James.
It's a space aquarium. It's a space aquarium.
Space aquarium.
But I respect they got the rocket thing going on, so I respect the continuity there. Twist, off to a good start. Hello, he's got an AK. I think we're going to keep dueling him in a situation. They're ill-equipped for the job and trying to trade kills versus a guy's picked up an AK with a UMP and they've got the bomb. I think that maybe it was time to cut their losses in that direction. And now the round is pretty much over. Not a single player has been lost by Team Liquid, just Jekvik can get some frags here. 3 of the players have helmets though, and there'll be 0 kills in round number 2 for Winstrike.
Oh dear.
Wasn't quite SpaceX in that round, Dan.
Not really the start that I thought they're gonna have after winning the pistol. This is a pretty awesome push, and if you're Team Liquid, you are going for one of these pushes, and maybe you get a bit lucky.
Why are they trying to, they know an AK has been dropped there. They don't have the weapons to fight. They have the bomb. Yeah. You have to go elsewhere. Well, space trivia. With those old NASA rockets, they used to buy, because the systems were so old, they used to buy parts for them, some of the parts, on eBay.
Fair enough.
That's true.
You can get some very reliable distributors on eBay, James. Well, it's going to be pretty rough from here on out, I think, for Winstrike. Again, one of the qualities of Team Liquid is that they are very consistent. It's actually me saying that they're I fabricated the conversation with you. It's actually with me saying that Astralis, rather that's Team Liquid, kind of the North American Astralis, just that they just have the same approach, a similar attention to detail. They have a slightly different style of play, but overall they're very disciplined, and their approach to practice and consistency is similar, and that makes them very resilient in these best of ones, and they're very much like Astralis. They're very good at grinding them out. That said, CZs will do some damage here. Naps the drive-by UMP makes it look so smooth. Wow, that was like a clothesline UMP move.
Cheeky grin on his profile picture, Naf.
He doesn't often show any kind of facial expressions, like someone applied Botox to all of his face, all of his muscles are just immobilized.
They put his head in a bucket of Botox.
Yeah, it's permanently immobilized.
Naf is a guy. There was a period of time where I forced him to say hello to me, because he's the kind of guy who would just rather avoid engaging people and just keep himself to himself. So I made a point we must engage in conversation.
Well, maybe you're distracting him from complex mental arithmetic that he's doing that could solve world problems, James.
Maybe, but sometimes a break is good. So he starts smiling when he sees me because he knows I'm going to be like, "Hi Nav, how you doing?" Good round for Team Liquid. Elige doesn't need to die in this round, but he will get killed by Jumka. Good for 2 frags in this round, Jumka, and that will be that. He was a problem in that show match. All the kind of shenanigans and nonsense I was trying to do, he was ready for them and punished me every single time.
Yeah,
he ruined the show match for me.
Jumka and Boomich were awesome. They were really fun to play with too, like great English and so on, but now we have the bye again, and Team Liquid are going to try to hold on to what they have here for as long as they possibly can. Obviously, they don't want to rebuy into AWPs and rebuy that UMP for as long as they can. Just save as much money as they can. Maybe you can win the rounds, everyone survives, and you can upgrade to 5 AKs. That would be the dream. Let's see though if the dream is a reality. Here is Elige is the one watching over middle, and Winstrike are quite passive at the beginning of this round, seemingly wary of underpass aggression, wary of any kind of aggression towards the B apps, and just sitting there for the time being, waiting for a delayed mid take. Looks like they could split it from underpass and from top mid. So slow beginning to this round for Winstrike, but eventually they'll have mid control.
Three smokes for the Winstrike squad. I imagine they will bounce one off in connector to obscure Elige's position. Now, to the left here, where he was standing, Elige basically, is a nice place where you can have a look towards Palace and have a look towards connector without showing to them the whole time. So 1 minute mark and the window smoke is in. Nobody was terribly focused on it for Team Liquid, but of course they have to be aware of a potential boost, especially with so much elapsed time. So Teams Liquid do not want to live and die on their swords in the mid position. You can see Nav starting to move up to the connector area. So if there is a late play into A, Nav can deal with it. Elige trying to see what's going on will be punished for doing so. There's the preemptive Molotov and Nav will go forward. He sees some legs, but he can't quite land a kill.
Oh, he's getting so much free damage there. They aren't really in a position to turn around and twist with a very, very smooth shot there with the AK-47. And Taco now comes into play. This is very clean now suddenly from Team Liquid. They'll lose 2 players, but they'll be fine for that. They have been saving so much money. And that push in front of the Molotov on short was so effective.
It might look strange for those at home when you see Naf engaging. They basically don't turn around to deal with him there because they're exposed at the front as well. So sometimes you'll ignore fire from the back if you think the front is more of a priority. Unfortunately, Naf did manage to frag one of them, and then the problems compounded for Winstrike. Winstrike, who haven't had the best time in the world between majors, essentially, which a lot of people have had eyes on. Let's see what they're able to do. I mean, this is one of their toughest tests that they will have. Pistols for this round.
Yeah, and it's definitely a good point to note that they didn't have the benefit of that previous week on this, in Twickenham to warm up and get used to everything over here. And so it's definitely a rude awakening from that perspective. And Team Liquid looking sharp as ever. They're a very professional team. It feels as though they can make anything their home, any setup anywhere in the world. It's going to feel comfortable to them, like pretty damn fast. It's another day in the office for Team Liquid, and they're starting to get the ball rolling on the CT side. One thing that's worrying is not only just the individual skill here that Team Liquid are displaying and how hard that is to face up against, is that Team Liquid don't seem to have any problem just dealing with what's being thrown at them strategically. They're
looking super chill. The expressions on their faces are as if they're in a sauna with the towels out.
Sauna.
5-1. This is a tactical timeout from Winstrike at the moment. They have achieved maximum loss bonus. Lose 5 rounds in a row has been achieved. So they'll have all the tools. Waterfalls will pull out the AWP. But what will be their approach this round? Waterfalls has a crap spawn, so there will be no aggressive plays at the beginning towards mid, towards B. We see Boomich here. Looks like he wants to line up a smoke grenade. Where will it go? Top mid. No lurkers towards A to start things off. Could this be a split of the B bomb side? The bomb will be dropped on short. Boomich will pick it up, and we still have just that one smoke in mid for now. There's one in connector. Ooh, that was a close one. And that shows you why you have to be careful about your jump arc. Taco's was minimal. He had minimal exposure there, and you saw a second shot from the sniper towards the lip of the balcony. Somebody standing at the back, which is a nice angle. If T's move to the balcony, you can shoot him straight in the face with the AWP from that range, so you must be careful.
Yeah, and Elige, you know, he has the difficult job of being this guy that sort of just tries to get info on mid, tries to do damage if he can, but also try not to die. It's can be precarious. We saw him in the previous buy round, dying, but his entire team pretty much survived once he got the info for them. So that's sometimes the nature of his job, and he's keeping tabs on the situation. And this is a good spot for Winstrike to B-split, to use to a B-split. And the Quick can play the lurk here in the connector position, and that can be quite a strong way to set up the round. But Team Liquid, they've got a good amount of utility left at this point. And Winstrike, the map has been very quiet whilst they set this up. So I think Liquid have time to figure things out. We'll see if that's the case.
Well, that requires a seeking of information. We're not quite doing that. Nitro caught on the box. Will there be a second frag? Taco needs to try and buy time for his team to rotate. Elige is in for support, moving into the side, as you can see from Taco's POV. That's a big frag for Elige. 17 seconds, and Winstrike are running out of time. Bombs on the floor now, running out of players. Only one player picked off in that round. Naf heads towards 11,500. Twist above 12. Nitro on 11 as well. So things are looking really comfortable for Team Liquid. In 7 rounds, we have 10 frags for Winstrike. So
yeah,
this is not looking good for them, because again, even if they are to win a round here, they need to survive in the numbers. They need to win consecutive rounds to have a good shot at this half of getting a reasonable level of rounds on the board. They need to take the money away from Team Liquid, which will require multiple rounds. So there's many a problem. Elige has picked up a Krieg in this round. Yep. I love me some Krieg.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's also quite suspicious, you know, Winstrike get the opening pick on the AWPer instantly, and that's usually the pick that's the pick you want to get. That's like the best pick to make, because it gets you in the B side. You can just spill everyone into the bomb site, but they were still unable to do so and gain any grounds. And hang on, we've got a couple pistol kills coming out here. This is becoming awkward for Team Liquid.
Seems that Liberties were being taken because they knew that Winstrike were ill-equipped, but they're still dangerous. Now, Winstrike have not been able to collect any weapons in this situation just yet. But cleanup needs to happen here for Team Liquid. Taco playing passively on B for now. Nitro can rotate quickly to help Naf, but he doesn't know what the status is of Connector, for example. They're trusting that no one is going to be pushing from there from the time being, but as you can see, Naf has to worry about multiple things. So if the timing is right for Winstrike, more can be done on this A bomb site.
Absolutely. It's definitely scary though. You know, Liquid have players, everyone's capable of these multi-frags, and Naf is definitely one of those players. He's waiting in a fairly safe position, which does allow him to back away. Oh, he's got to be careful though. There comes the peek from the elevated position by Palace as well. Now down to Nitro. Great bunnying, but Quick will take him down. Taco looking to at least remove some of the guns from Winstrike, and we don't have to worry about Liquid's economy, but Winstrike, they could, if they lose some players here, it's definitely going to hurt.
I think Taco has to go for this, even if it's a guaranteed loss. You don't want your opponent winning the round on an eco, because they get so much more money out of that situation, so he needs to thin the numbers as much as possible. Now we've got, there we go, Boomich trying to pick something up, trying to get cheeky. Taco's wondering if he should go for it, and to be honest, like, if he did go for it, he would at least pull more people towards the bomb site, but he may get another kill from this regardless. There's the flashbang. Marvellous, the AWP taken away, so nothing is taken through to the next round. That's exactly the situation Liquid needed. Only a Desert Eagle, and it could have been so much more for Winstrike. So yes, they win the round, but Liquid forced them to spend all their money regardless. So if they get that reset in, then we might be looking at a 10-2 scoreline.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity for sure. And it would be a great round for Liquid to pretty aggressive too. I mean, there's two schools of thought. I don't think I'll get time to talk about them because we might have a very fast balcony burst on our hands by the looks of things here from Winstrike. And Liquid went for fast information on mid, so I do wonder, now they're rotating back towards A, whether they'll be suspicious of this play. And oh, the damage done by the nades is enormous here for Team Liquid, and it's going to be very difficult for Winstrike to push out of these choke points at this point. The bomb down on the site as well. Liquid have completely decimated this push, and it doesn't seem like there's too much to save this now.
Waterfalls.
Oh dear.
Is at the bottom of the river, perhaps. Only Nitro taken out. This is disastrous territory for Winstrike. They've got no money. They have done minimal impact to Liquid's economy. So this is plain sailing, smooth sailing for Liquid at present. The winds are pretty calm. They've got 2 AKs on the likes of Elige and Twist as well. Elige and Twist. You can throw Naf and Nitro. I mean, pretty much everyone on AKs. Just it's bad. It's a bad situation.
Bad.
Bad situation indeed. Tactical timeout from Winstrike. You see some discussion, but they're just up against a very, very, very strong team.
Team of astrophysicists, perhaps? Like various.
What, their opponents or Winstrike?
Winstrike. They've got various constellations on their on their shirts.
Maybe they're into the celestial navigation. Perhaps we could have a conversation. I haven't. I've got a sextant in the books, but I haven't had time to learn how to use the sextant yet for my celestial navigation.
Could have made time games. 3 less matchmaking games of the 25.
I can't.
3 days.
I must.
You can't use that excuse.
I've got new skins now. I have to play Counter-Strike, man. You know how much money I spent last week?
Well, it's Winstrike in a round like this. They did do some damage, pick up some kills, made things awkward. But perhaps Liquid, that's fresh in their mind now. And they're like, okay, let's just close this one down. At this point, it's got to feel like for Liquids, they've got to feel like they are so much better than their opponents right now. Just the way that they've won some of the rounds.
Well, they have to know.
And the difficulty at which Winstrike have had in this very match.
They must know. Tycho having a look. He can quickly rotate out of the window, as evidenced by the rotation out of the window. A pistol round from Winstrike. Again, they're just trying to get some impact here. There are still, let's say, 4 rounds to fight for, because this is a non-round at this point. So if they can get some damage in, every frag is $6,000 roughly in value. Jumka and Valina have managed to make their way into the B bomb site. They're going to flank on Elige. Somehow, the Glock's getting to work here. Elige turning around. Starcraft aim though, can't shut that down. That is round number 8 for Team Liquid. Nothing doing there for Winstrike. No plant, no frags, but they will be back on the buy once again. Lost bonus is middling at the moment, but they'll have some grenades as well.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Krieg comes back out onto Boomich. I think we had some stats from last week. I think the Krieg was bought maybe like twice or something. So we're getting Boomich, really ramping up those stats, and we'll see whether or not it will be stolen from him. Elige seemed like he was keen to get it in his hands, and Nitro with the jump across is going to start things off well for Liquid. Picks off Waterfalls, and Team Liquid, they don't have too much to worry about. Just Valina in middle here, and we'll see whether or not it will be the case that Winstrike can somehow build on this mid control, although it's limited.
In the meantime, so Boomich keeps buying the Krieg, and he's trying to take the duel with a player playing CT on A, but not quite getting anything done. And now Boomich remains with Jumka. Another round where one by one they get picked off. Taco will be forced from his position with a flashbang. He's going to stand his ground for a time, but he'll fall back eventually. There's Boomich with the Krieg. It's pretty awkward to use at close range, especially when you're not scoped. Like, I have no idea what's going on when I'm not scoped in. There's a nice scope on that skin as well. The one, the racing decals, whatever you call it, livery I think it's called, is amazing. The scope actually has some nice work on it as well. And there we go, another round where 4 players survive for Team Liquid. This is a pedestrian game of Counter-Strike for them so far.
Yep, absolutely. It's just running through the routines and just getting it done. again, as Chad said, I agree with him. So Chad thinks they'll win the major. So I'm not 100% sure if I agree with that, but I definitely feel like they are one of the favorites for the finals. I think that Team Liquid have the quality to get there. It would be.
So you just think they're not good enough to win that? Why are you hating?
I think it's very difficult to predict who's going to win, but I think that they have the quality to get to the finals. So
it's a reasonable statement, Dan. I was trying to bait you into I don't know, some offensive wordplay. Another round of pistols from Winstrike. They've lost a player already, and Taka will take a duel towards apartments, but he will lose to Junka. But of course, it's not the worst thing in the world. There's a Molotov there. The gun will still be hard to retrieve. So, and at this point, this late in the half, I don't know how relevant the damage is. Again, Winstrike, there's been many a round where they've got one frag, and it's just not enough, really.
Creeping through connector. Creeping. But there's only so far you can creep before the bouncers take you away. And Team Liquid, they've really given up a lot of space here, and this is really cool because what Liquid are doing is playing incredibly safe. There's 4 players left on the team. There is not a crack in their defense in the sense. Twist is in a position where he can see pretty much all the A's side, but he's not going to get caught out of position shot in the back. No one's going to get shot in the back with the current Liquid setup. And that's one of the good things about it. You give a lot of space to the T's, but they don't have much utility and they don't have good guns. So that space isn't as good, but if you're able to get a drive-by P50 headshot, maybe, just maybe, you can make something happen.
10 bullets left for Eluge, that's enough for some more frags. None of these players have Kevlar. There'll be no more frag. Okay, so it's Twist alone now. Rifles collected by Winstrike, and this is really important for them. This is a lot more than they could have asked for in this round, and they need rounds. Who knows what the second half will be like for Winstrike? They could take people by surprise, so let's not expect both halves to be this dominant. You never know. Twist giving some audio cues away, but again, he's against players with no Kevlar, so it's going to be a hard one for Jimka to deal with. Twist, I need to identify where the T is. Does he peek immediately? No, Jimka not straight away. He peeks to Twist right, and he's overexposes himself, but he's still alive, and that might be enough to win the round. Jumping USP is not quite going to hit the mark there. Ooh. I think he shot him in the head. I don't know, but either way, it is a round for Winstrike. No one will survive, but the round is theirs. Don't know what to really make of that round, but it's a round.
Well, that's a couple cheeky pistol rounds that have gone better for Winstrike than any of their buy rounds, really. But we're still going to this Krieg repeatedly, which is kind of cool to see. We'll see, though, again, whether they can convert now that they'll be buy against buy. And it seems like, okay, so before I was talking about schools of thought when you're in Liquid's position. Liquid are playing against a team that they know they are much better than on paper and in practice, it would, seemingly. And so you can either try to play as safe as you want and just massively capitalize and exploit and punish mistakes the other team makes, or you can actually try to overwhelm them and try to disrupt them and just make it really difficult and create horribly difficult decisions for them to make, which you can also capitalize upon. That's what you can do by playing very aggressively and by taking pushes and leveraging your individual skill that's overall better. So they've chosen typically here the first option, the former, which is to just try to play relatively safe, not go for any big risks. We haven't really seen much risk taking on the CT side of Liquid here. They're just trying to play very standard. And I think also there's an argument that this is a matchup where they don't have to show anything. If they have anything prepared, that opponents who are studying them, who are more difficult later on down the line, might look at this demo. They're not going to see anything that Liquid are doing that they can exploit later on. Standard stuff here from Liquid, except now they go to double ops, and this is a good response to double ops, James. Just smoke off everything.
Alright then, Winstrike. They start to move in. Always important to have that smoke on the bench position so the CTs can't creep behind it. Starting to move in now. That bomb needs to go down fast because the smokes are starting to disappear. Now having a look from the jungle position. Elite running distracted in the meantime, but the bomb has been planted. There's one close for Naf, and he won't quite get that frag. 3 players remaining for Winstrike. Make it 2. Make it 1. And what does Boomich even do in this situation? Does he... I mean, at this point, the round is over. but he's still going towards the ramp. The economic impact is irrelevant, and I think he should just save his weapon, really. There are 2 rounds remaining in this half, and now he's got $2,700, so I don't know what the point of that was.
Best not to think about it, James. But Liquid, oh, they're going to throw away one? Yeah, they threw away one of the orbs. Oh. Oh well. Oh well. A couple of rounds left in this half, and Liquid, still not really seemingly to be, being pressed in any sense. Looks very comfortable for them, and this is compared to the tension we had in the previous matchup, it's quite a contrast. That G2 Hellraisers game, definitely, if you missed that one, is definitely the best Dust 2 game I think I've seen so far since New Dust 2. A really cool matchup. And Chris cleaning up the pistols here. Our Team Liquid, it's an easy affair. And we move into the final round of the first half. Liquid's very, very well positioned for the 12-3 finish.
Chew Master Twist. So chewing helps people focus.
Yeah, so
we understand.
I haven't looked at any studies behind it yet, but I know that it's something one of the old Quake 4 champions, Toxic, it's the first time I saw it, and he won in a very, very competitive time. I think like 8+ tournaments in a row. No one could touch him. It was actually amazing. And he used to chew gum as well. And then the reasoning is apparently motorcyclists do it as well, and it was a thing in apparently the motorcycle community. Again, correct me if I'm wrong.
To keep focus and alerts.
It is to increase focus, and I think part of that is imagine if you have any nervous energy, or if you're, it's sort of like fidgeting, it's a good routined outlet to sort of keep you in a more mindful state.
Fidgeting, you say? Because
imagine if you're just holding an angle, James. We have this issue where you can get kind of stale on that angle, and you can get a bit slow. Your mind will start to drift. If you're, chewing, you're constantly sort of doing something low key.
That spread of the Molotov behind the boxes was perfect. Absolutely clean. Something to look out for. That's sometimes why you don't see the fastest of mid takes. Because if you are forced into the open, if you are driven like a pheasant from the green, then you may be taken out of the sky. It's a nice pick from Waterfalls, but nothing doing just yet. AWP spotted in Palace, and Winstrike seems to be moving to some sort of A execute. A with smokes, perhaps. The fabled A with smokes.
Well, that's a really important frag. That's the lurker dead. And now the push, they're trying to make the push happen. The flick is missed by Waterfalls. And it's a struggle now to get onto the bomb site. And the superior numbers here for the CT side will also pose an issue. Twist picks up one more, and that's the 12-3 for Team Liquid. Very simple affair for Team Liquid so far. Not too much to say about this game, really, for Winstrike. Their T side, there's been sort of a distinct lack of pressure, I would say, on the T side. A lack of sort of creating mid-round decisions where you can see that Liquid have themselves some hard decisions, or things seem to be obscure, and they'll have to make some guesses. It's not really been like that. It's mostly just been Team Liquid. It's just been playing safe. They're able to deal with everything.
Everything in its right place, hashtag Radiohead.
Yeah. Glad you say, James, you move into the CT side now for Winstrike, and perhaps they can show us something else.
5 sets of Kevlar for Winstrike. 3 players going towards the A side versus the 2 of Team Liquid in their pistol round. And the entire Team Liquid squad is here. They want to close this one out fast, it seems. Are they ready for it? So they've got a numbers advantage, and Twist is good for a 2K, but there's one more to find. Waterfalls in the ninja position, or ninja if you are Nordic. Oh, so close. He was about to take the headshot, but Twist moved just at the last second, and that will be brutal. That's so annoying. You line it up, you're like, okay, I've been really careful about this. I'm about to click the mouse. No, he's moved. Oh, crap.
Yeah, and also when people have their backs to you, headshots I don't know. I
feel like you have to aim for the top of the neck in that situation.
It's just really weird, isn't it? It's really weird.
So when I'm playing pistol DM, you don't hit anything unless you aim for the bottom of the top of the neck, rather. Twist finally eliminated after a 3k performance. There's no diffuse kit. Again, everybody picks up Kevlar for Winstrike, and everyone will fall for the Winstrike team. The missiles are faulty. 13-3, 10-round lead for Team Liquid. All the advantages. Do we see a force every round for Winstrike? What do you choose to do in this situation? How many options are there, even reasonably speaking, when you are 3 for 13 on the CT side and you lose the pistol?
I think you have to force buy every round, just because you're, as you said, like you're so far behind. You're like either you put it all on one rounds, and maybe you're gonna win that round 50% of the time, or you spread it out. You spread your risk, even though the risk is greater. You still spreading the risk can be potentially better. I'm not a mathematician, so I wouldn't actually be able to tell you mathematically what would be the best thing to do, but I guess that's part of Counter-Strike 2. Oh, hang on. We do actually make some frags here, it seems, for Winstrike with this force buy, with these CZs, and UMP is collected. Although Twist is, kind of just walking back into that choke point, and we've got Liquid just, gathering once again, rallying for this A push, regrouping, looking to close things down. We've got Quick and Boomich on the bomb sites, looking to offer up that defense. Both playing Shadow as well. This could work out for them, although, as I say that, the Molotov is prepared, is ready, and that'll make things very difficult indeed. Nitro picks up the one. Both players now spotted. Twist there to put in the finishing blows. He can't do it, though. It's up to the UMP of NAF, so this is getting quite close indeed. Bullets running out, and Winstrike will pick up the round indeed.
Okay, collected. Is there anything for the 5-7 player UMP in the last second? So there is something, and the money sucks for Team Liquid, so the force buy has worked for the time being. A man like Boomich. That's a nice shot.
Bish bash.
Gotta love a deagle. We were going to do a Sounds of CSGO for the Desert Eagle, but the one which was available to us had this big thing, some kind of like sight hanging off the end of it, so we chose not to do it. And then a second time the Desert Eagle was broken in Vegas, so it will come eventually. Jimka on the balcony. That's a really nice peek from him. There's no flashback ready though, and that allows the T to get closer than they otherwise might have. And that could be a problem. The numbers game working out for Team Liquid so far, but can Boomich be traded by Team Liquid? He can. Headshots galore. Waterfalls, has he been heard? I think he has now. Taco doing a 180. Oh. That smoke is very brutal indeed, and still the headshots ring in.
Yeah, you hate to see that. You drop the smoke, and then you get shot in the face through the smoke. Lovely. Yes, not a good situation for Valina, and we'll take down Elige, and you kind of have to go for this now. I mean, again, you're behind so many rounds. You have no money at all. He has a kit and a flashbang. I think it could be worth a go, but he will decide to back away here. There's just no optimal decision. Pretty much everything is an enormous risk at this point for you just losing the game. So it will be the case that we'll see Liquid on 14 rounds now to the 4 of Winstrike. They get the bomb down, which will afford them, of course, well, okay, the bomb detonated, which affords them the round win, which now allows them just enough money to buy. You actually get more money if you win by bomb detonation than elimination, and it's a difference about $250. So you get 3,500 instead of 3,250. And with that extra bit of cash, they'll be able to get all the nades they want.
14-4. Uphill struggle, to put it mildly, for Winstrike team. 2 AKs for Team Liquid. Elige has a FAMAS. UMP onto Nafly. 3 AKs, in fact, for Team Liquid. Dangerous round. Alright, so Winstrike are ill-equipped in this round. It is a force by the scout. Jimka is the only man with a rifle. Felina will be looking for close engagements with an MP9. And they put 4 people around the A bomb site Winstrike. However, Team Liquid have started off towards B, so it seems they have avoided most of the issues in that respect. Jimka jump peeking, but they are already very close. Oh, it gets his bell rung immediately and finished off by Nitro.
Indeed, that is a very fast entry to the site. They've got 3 smokes and a Molotov left, and it's a 5v4. That should be the bomb site, just under lock and key at this point. You can see Winstrike, they just immediately know it. It's kind of like when on Inferno you kill the banana players straight away, and then you just know the round is over, because it's just too much time for the T's to play into post-plant positions, and they have too much utility at that point in the round. It's just impossible by the time you rotate. So Liquid moving seamlessly, easily, not flawlessly, but onto that match point with the round win here. And will be a scout tag or two before the round is done, but not much really. Again, it's always going to be a really rough matchup for Winstrike, but we're not seeing sort of any signs of hope either.
Soon it's maybe over then. Soon it may be over. There may be some relief in the end of this game. I mean, again, who knows what they can do in other games, but this is probably one of the worst teams for them to go against. Although, to be honest, this whole stage is pretty much stacked. So
yeah, you can't win really. Yeah, we're in the new challenges against the old legends to create the new legends for next week.
Shadow. I see a shadow. But what does Boomich see? He sees a leg. And there's a two-man push. And there we go. There's some real estate for them for the time being. And that will bring Liquid back. It may thwart their plans in the short term as they try to manage a situation which is slightly worse than it was before. T's moving through the apartments. Jumka and Quick towards B. Jumka having a look-see. Again, when you saw the previous peaks from Jumka, and there was almost an indecision from Winstrike as to, that's a great flash from him. Honestly, he knows all the little tricks. Good place to watch in that respect, but will it save them? This is a solid execute from Team Liquid. Elise looking top mid though, and it doesn't seem like they are going to commit to this. Taco moving through the underpass with the bomb. Now, does Nitro go towards A? They don't know what the situation is towards the ramp, towards the palace, and Nitro will be the man to lead that investigation.
But what can Taco find there in the connector position? So he's looking to go for the peek. He can actually get an angle towards Boomich there. He tucks into the corner. Oh, the timing is not good for Boomich. Liege is going to get the kill, and now that's the A-bomb site in problems. Velina. He has been unchecked for, but now he'll be discovered. Maybe he should have waited a bit longer. It's always hard to say in that position how to play it. There's never necessarily a right call, and it looks like it's a hunting situation now for Elise. He's going after Jumka, although Jumka is going to get one up on him. However, there is a big problem, and that's that bomb ticking away. Taco covering from Sandwich. Ooh, nice peek from Quick. There's a solid chance here. Twist will slow things down, though, as Nitro aims to do, but he'll be unsuccessful. They can take this round now. They'll both go for the peek. And there's time.
There is time. Winstrike managed to survive another round. Now, Kvik, is he going to drop a weapon for his teammate? Because he's only got a scout. He will indeed, and collect another AK. So Winstrike survive. 10 more rounds for them to try to bring back. And let's see, there's money for the most part on the Team Liquid side. Winstrike not really working with a lot there. And this buy is fairly reasonable for Winstrike. They don't have an AWP, but they've all got rifles and good grenades. They've got 3 defuse kits. When you are light on defuse kits, it's always important to mention this to your teammates when you die, where the defuse kits are. So we have a very fast execute from Team Liquid, but there's a Molotov to try and stop things. They're charging through it, however. The flashbangs continue to rain in, but there is a first frag for Winstrike. More Molotovs in case they jump out the window, and the CTs are getting some frags here. There's a bomb, and now Taco is alone. Nice response so far from Winstrike. They need to survive in the numbers should they win this round. But Taco still has time for a clutch. I'm not sure if they are entirely convinced as to where he is, but Waterfalls is starting to rotate in now, so perhaps he's been spotted.
Indeed. Taco, nice pickup there. 2 more to go. Over a minute to do it, but the bomb is stuck in the site. That does limit his options quite significantly. Otherwise, he would actually be maybe, arguably not a favorable position, but quite a winnable one if he could just go to the A site with the bomb and split up the CTs. But they know the bomb is down on the B site, so this limits him. He has to go and get it at some point. And he's deciding to go the long way around, which is definitely a sensible option. And he could absolutely catch someone. He's likely to find a 1v1 doing it this way. Oh no. Oh, you don't want to see that.
Oh, that's a GG right there.
Yeah, you hate to see that. Big sound cue. You expect that would be broken as well. That's bizarre.
30 seconds, he knows where one of the players is. Second one spotted towards the bench. And that's round number 6 for Winstrike. No plant in this round for Team Liquid, which means it is eco territory for Team Liquid. That's 2 rounds in a row for Winstrike. Now, how long can they continue for?
Yes, indeed. It is a long, long road.
On the plus side for Team Liquid, actually, this is an execute which, well, there's pros and cons to Team Liquid. This is an execute which their opponents can look at and see how Winstrike dealt with it. They telegraph what they're doing by throwing the grenades so fast, but I'm sure they have a plan B where it's a fake. But there's a lot of mileage for the CTs to get Molotovs in and make it harder for them before they get anywhere close to the B bomb site. Now, Liquid trying to use a numbers game. They've got the bomb down, but they're pretty much getting wiped out there. Now, damage is really big for Team Liquid in a round such as this, but there will be no damage.
One of the problems for Winstrike as well is that Liquid are in a situation where they can just gamble every round. They can just, if Liquid wanted, they could just rush B every single round. Because you expect that if you do that, 7 times in a row, you might win one of those rounds, and that's all. They just need to win a round. It doesn't matter, like the rest doesn't really matter, unless they're thinking about their statistics or something. But there's so much crazy stuff, like high risk stuff that you can just try to make work that could just really catch your opponent off guard. So it can get really weird sometimes when a team's in that position. But Liquid generally have been showing a really basic game style. I really think that they don't want to show anything. They don't want to overcomplicate anything. They know the basics can win against this team, so that's what they'll just try to rely on. And it's like a slow mid-take will be in order here for Team Liquid, a delayed mid-take. We shall see. We shall see how it all pans out for them. 3 players towards that A bomb site for Winstrike. Very heavy lean towards A with no information really. And that does give Liquid middle if they want it, but they won't have any resistance here. 4 players on A for Winstrike at this point. It's very gambly for being, down 7-15. If Liquid were to explode on the B site, then the round is over. They don't have any information to think that it could be otherwise.
The smoke Elige was lining up was for Connector, but it seems he'll be deploying the one to the window instead. Now, the smoke on Connector would help if they were making a short play for a B split, which it seems they might be doing anyway. And there is the smoke to enable them to do that. So here we go, it's a B split into the B bomb site, and Jumka is alone playing the sneaky gap, but he can't really do much of that. And now the skill of Liquid comes into play with AK-47s no less, and Winstrike are completely out of position.
Oh dear, oh dear. The worst thing that could have happened, and I don't know what they can do here. Obviously they're committed to try to go for it, but it's not a good look. 5 versus 2 now as they get whittled away. So it's just Boomish left, and they played a huge gamble, James. And that's, if you're 7-15 down, that's going to go wrong at some point. And Liquid will effortlessly take their game against Winstrike, which will be a beautiful way for them to start off this best of 1 phase.
Yes, I don't think the score tells the story, even with 7 rounds at this point, because that was all Team Liquid, as it should be. I don't think there are any surprises there, and